up, you guys? It's your girl Heaven.
And it's your girl Riddle.
And this is another episode of
More Than a Mother Podcast.
And we're back.
Look, make sure I wasn't ashy.
She not ashy. I made sure her hair wasn't ashy. If y'all, I don't think the camera was on, but I moisturized my girl's hair.
Real good, and I appreciate it because I needed it.
Yeah. But we didn't get to do our last episode last week. So we back.
Y'all, I messed my foot up. She threw a surprise party for her boyfriend. Shout out to Tyler. And I went running down the steps to make sure I didn't get booted. And now I'm booted.
So I live in an apartment. Yeah. I live in an apartment where they boot people. They don't even tow over here.
Booted me real good one time.
Yeah, booted her real good. We was actually recording the podcast.
Yeah. had a time.
Had a great time. The first episode, actually.
Oh my God, it literally was.
It was the first episode. She got booted real good. So I had a house full or an apartment full of folk. And when they said something about the boot truck coming,
I was running down the steps. I was running. Because don't get me. Not again. We can't get got again.
And what happened to your foot?
Fucked it up real good. I'm really not sure.
And now she really booted.
Now I'm really booted. Like I have a boot on. I have a boot on, like for real. So yeah. We'll get that figured out. We'll get that sorted out. But yeah. I'm okay.
She's fine.
I'm okay.
Shout out to my man. His birthday just passed. He is the big 27, honey. He is 27 years old. He is old, honey.
That's what I be saying all the time. Like,
oh, why are men so old, honey? I'm only 20. I'm only 20.
And I'm 21, so.
Period.
We're super young.
Very young. But yeah, so today we're back and we're excited. We're talking about the generation our parents and maybe even our grandparents grew up in.
Or are we the old school? So like when we speak, we should speak to like how things were for us
when
versus
we were
how things are about to be for our children.
Okay, because we're the old school. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because niggas don't know nothing about Bow Wow. I'm sorry.
And niggas be hating on Bow Wow so hard.
Yeah.
So
me and Tyler talk about it all the time.
He really paved a lot of ways. Yeah. He corny. That's my nigga.
Is he corny?
Yeah, he is.
I think the only reason we think he's corny is because he literally might be stuck in the 2000s.
Okay, so that's corny.
Okay.
I still give him corny. But I love him, nonetheless. I love me a good cornball.
I respect it so much. I love him. But anyway, yeah, so let's get into it. We both have children.
Yes.
One apiece. Y'all know this. Miss Marley and Mr. Seven. Shout out to Seven. He's going to be one in just like
Seven is
2
walking.
and a half.
Can we shout out to Seven for walking? Because he's walking. He's growing a tooth. Like what?
It took him a long ass time to get some damn teeth.
But he's here.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
He don't know what to do, guys.
And it's going to be big.
He been like putting his finger in his mouth. Because he's so old. You know when some kids get teeth early. Like 4, 5,
Marley
6 months.
She was almost born with one.
Right. Seven didn't get his first tooth until literally he was 11 months. He's 11 months and the tooth started coming in a couple days ago. He been putting his finger in his mouth. Like, what is that? And when he eats, he's like, what is that in my mouth? And he tries to like spit it out. He tries to grab it and take it out.
I'm sure he's trying to just avoid the sore area.
Yes.
Because,
yeah,
I can only imagine. I really want to speak to the fact that our children won't be able to go outside.
Yeah.
And that
I love that.
Is like I started thinking about this the other day. I was like, the way you could really make a friend on the block and continue to make friends on the block, and that becomes a safe haven for all children, they'll never get that. And oftentimes, if you do get it, you probably aren't going to get the nicest set of people these days. Like, of course, me and my neighbors had our spats. Beat their ass real good.
She was always fighting her neighbors, honey. Her neighbors was racist, too.
I'm about to say, my neighbors were racist, and we stayed in a racist town. So, yeah. As an adult, I know that that's expected. But as a kid, I was like, y'all gonna quit talking to me like I'm stupid. Anyway. But they don't even get to play the kickball. They not even walking the blocks. They really don't. They really live a totally different life. And did you see this?
What?
Did you see you having children and them not being able to go outside and not being able to do?
You know what? I did. I saw it coming prior to me having Seven because the energy outside was changing before I had a kid.
You're right.
I saw it. Now, the reason I say that is because I was outside when I was a child. Me and my mom lived in a tiny house that her and my dad started renting when they were married. And once they got divorced, we stayed there. And she kind of was over me. My mama's favorite line was, get out of my sight. Because, I mean, she was going through a divorce. And a toddler is hard to deal with. So she sent my ass outside. I had a bike. And one thing about who I am, and I think who you are too, I had a whole bunch of old-ass friends. Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of old-ass siblings.
Yeah. So in
return, I had a whole bunch of
low-key, her older siblings were my old-ass friends. So... But we lived on Mooney Street. If y'all know anything about Mooney Street in Gastonia, it was lit. And I went outside. I had a friend, Shakura. She literally was, shout out to Shakura. She literally was 14 and I'm like 6, literally. And we were
paying her.
No. We were fuck you. We were literally the best of friends, and we would fight over B2K posters.
Love to see posters. They won't even cover their walls up with posters unless it becomes trendy on TikTok, like a 2000s trend. It has to be a trend for them to take pleasure or get pleasure out of it. Like, we used to do this shit for a living. Like, what you mean? People really used to go to grocery stores and look at magazines to get news, to see what celebrities were doing, and that I could do without. Okay, I don't care about having to read for everything, but a physical.
You literally have to read. Yeah, before that it was the newspaper.
Exactly.
Like, damn.
I'm okay with getting some alerts to the phone. I'm okay with that, but just the I feel like for me. It was a sense of like euphoria when you used to go in there with your parents and you could stare at the magazine. I might even take the poster. Gotta raise the poster out. What do you mean? And our kids will never know anything.
They will never know anything, until it becomes a trend. Because y'all know just as well as we know, everything comes back around. Mm-hmm. So I got some bell bottom on right now. Yeah, that's the shit my grandma was rocking back in the day, and that shit was really hot. So everything comes back around. So I can't really blame the kids for goddamn, wanting to go with trends and this is a new thing when they really don't know it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. We went through that shit too. We really did. Yeah. When we were doing things, our parents was like,
we been did that. Yeah. We been or when dances came out that were named the same. We used to do that. That's not how it's done. Uh-huh. So we could speak to feeling like them now, but it's different. I don't think I've seen it. Like I of course we were in the age of watching the internet grow and as fast as it did, and seeing phones and all that stuff come around. But I don't think I've seen it becoming so scary outside. Like, we literally used to get text and address to a party and just go. And like, I know we probably should have took more safety precautions, but like, no one really thought nothing of it. Like, no one made any oh no, we should. It was never like that. It was just like, okay, it's a party here, everybody gonna be here, and you went. And it wasn't parties. Can't nobody do that no more. You probably gonna you be setting people up to get robbed, killed. Yeah. Like, it's literally a different world.
Yeah, I have so many reservations about this. I did see it going this way before I had a kid. The world was changing right before my eyes, and I knew that the way we was outside, I wouldn't let my baby just roam the streets. Literally, I don't know if we got younger listeners, but I need y'all to understand, we was the fuck outside. Like, I was 6, 7, 8 and just had to come in when the street lights went off. Like, I tell my mama this story all the time, and she doesn't understand, and she thinks I'm lying. But Shakura, please let her know I'm not lying. Shakura and a couple of our other friends, and I have friends my age too, but we were like a pack. Your neighborhood friends, right? She took me through the woods one day, literally through the woods. And as a 6 or 7-year-old, you don't really know what's going on, so it could have not been through the woods. But I really remember it being through the woods.
You know what's going on at 6 and 7.
I really think it was because my mama literally makes me think I'm crazy, but I swear to God, it was through the woods. And then we came up on this old people home. I went in there, and all these old folks taught me how to play chess. Literally. And she don't believe me, but I literally went on later on in my elementary, middle school to join the chess club and beat niggas' asses. Like, literally, I learned how to play chess from these old people through the woods. And that's the type of experiences that I wish our children would be able to learn outside of our house. Unfortunately, now we have more of a pressure on us.
You can't even let them go outside.
Exactly. Now we have more of a pressure on us to teach all of our children every fucking thing inside of the house. Because it's so hard to trust the outside world. And I also think one of the biggest, and you can speak to this, one of the biggest issues about today's time is that children around the age of 12 to 17 are very influenced by the media now. When we were younger, Instagram, I remember.
See, like, I wish it just stopped right there.
But it doesn't. It doesn't because when we started, we remember the year Instagram was invented, right? And computers and things of that nature were getting popular and stuff like that. Now that's the whole world.
That's
like now
you're
that
born into that.
Yeah, now that they were born into that.
It's almost as if they're born into that, but like they come pre-programmed with the knowledge to do it, and that's also
that's natural selection.
I know
natural selection.
Like, what the hell?
Seven came out the womb knowing how to put the phone up to his ear. Yeah. Like, it's weird.
Marley been scrolling.
Yeah.
Babies, that's a fine motor skill that most people are functioning to learn how to do at that age.
Old people don't even know how to do what the babies are coming out knowing how to do. So I think it's natural selection.
And I think when I speak to that, I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think that in a way, and preferably, technology can do some great things for us, because we've been able to see a lot more things, and reprimand a lot more people, maybe not to the full extent that it should be, but we are able to now hold people more accountable for their actions because of it, and that's beautiful in itself. But then you can't really do shit on that motherfucker, because everybody can have your business and all your information, and like it's just a different world. When you got home from school, and if you were lucky enough to have a computer and you had to wait for it to dial up, that was a humbling experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is so fast paced now too. But one of the biggest things that I think is different from our generation is the influence, man. I'm gonna touch on that again, because think about the young boy music that little niggas listening to. And I'm not this is one of the things. There's always a good and a negative to things. We would not have a world if it wasn't for polar opposites. So we need a sun and a moon, baby, and we need a man and a woman. Like, things like that are always gonna happen. So when I'm speaking negatively about things, of course there's a positive side to it. And I really, for someone. And I appreciate like social media and certain type of musics. I think that we can learn from and But I think that these kids are trying to live like the fairy tale world of whatever their influences are. And back then, we had bad influences. We had Trina, and we had, but it wasn't toting guns type shit.
I don't think
that kills people.
Like, it was in our face, but it's so in their face now because you have so much access to it all day, 24/7. Like, we weren't like, people might have taken influence from that, but like, you had to sneak and listen to that, and you might have heard that once. You might have seen the video every once in a blue moon. It wasn't really something that your parents, and I'm not speaking for everybody's parents, but for mine, it wasn't something that they allowed to be done. And not to say that parents today are allowing it to be done. It's just what comes up on the screen.
Yeah, you can't help.
It's just like, you can't help it. You can tailor things as much as you would like to, and then they'll still find a way to put something in there that isn't necessary for the age group. It's just like it's an unfortunate struggle. Yeah, we'd have to consistently face as parents, because I can't wait, because she needs to stay a baby forever, but I can't wait to be able to speak to how she is as a teenager. Yeah, because I have a girl. And I feel like girls often pick up on influence more, especially when it comes to being around other women, especially as a black woman, and not in predominantly black spaces, oftentimes. Because oftentimes, if you want to escape black spaces as far as like the hood, you are going to be placed with more white folks.
That's true.
So I don't know. I could just pray that the line of communication stays open.
That's one of the reasons we, as a generation, I believe, and I can't speak to everybody because there's horror stories about this, but I do think our generation of parents, they were not able to speak to their parents openly.
Yeah. And
so they tried their best to do that with us, right? I think your mom was super open. My mom was super open. I was always able to tell my parents.
It was never a thing to lie. Like,
right.
We never, if we're going somewhere, 9 times out of 10, my daddy dropping us off.
Right.
And he's picking us up. Like, they're going to know where we're at. And I think that I wouldn't raise Marley any different in that sense. Like, I wouldn't keep her, like, under my wing as far as, like coddling her. But I would let her know that if you're going to do these things, we're going to be right there. So, yeah, you can go. We drop you off. We picking you up. You said you're going to be done at this time. Like, it's going to be in a structured manner. Yeah. Still, it's a different world.
And I think it's a different world. I think because the world is so complex that it may be hard.
I definitely think
for us to, and I'm gonna say us because I'm talking about the generation of parents that we have now, to speak to their children openly about certain things and this new world of sexuality and things like that. So I mean,
where are you with that?
I would. Oh, great question.
Where are you with that?
We can tap into that, but I do think you and I would try our best. Trayvon and Tyler would try their best to be very open with our children. Like, we were raised that way, and we want to be that way. But I think for the rest of the people in our generation, it could be difficult because there's so many different avenues to go down with your damn kid now. Like, it's hard. My mom and my daddy did not sit down with me and have a police brutality conversation. I do think it should have been necessary back then. But do I think it's probably more necessary now? Absolutely.
We spoke, and me and Trey just had this conversation literally yesterday, like literally last night, because my daddy always made sure to, and I'm not going to say, I don't think he would have put it in the words as police brutality, because I don't think that that's something that they said then. So,
back then,
like, we know now that that's what it's called, but like, he always taught us a certain way to handle policemen. He was always, what I see on TikTok now, like, I laugh because if my daddy was here, he'd be on TikTok as the guy who goes to places who try to test his rights because he knows them. Because he was always the person, you roll it down enough for them to hear you. You don't roll it down enough for a bell to get in. You show them your ID. You don't have to give it to them. You show them, like, he was always teaching us those things. And my mom, so when we're speaking about sexuality, my mother was a daycare teacher. And she saw a kid get their sex changed as young as 2 years old, and they knew they live a nice, great life. Love my mother. They live, like, when she came home and she spoke to us, she was like, she did say, now it could be anybody. If it's gonna have to be anybody, let it be one of them girls, not my son. But
Lord, I don't think it's a conversation for that ass.
Right. Okay? I don't think that she meant it as if like she would like not love him or anything. But
it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, so that's why I say, where do you sit with that? Because you mother a son.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to say, just to bring light to the situation before I get a little deep, I do believe that having a son and a child in general has taught me that, well, and this is just my opinion, I think kids are born with their sexuality, because my motherfucking son love women, baby. I mean, I don't know what it is. He don't like when the maintenance man come into my apartment. He literally runs. But when it's a woman, baby, he don't take his eyes off of her. So that's just a little funny little thing that we like to say. But Tyler and I had this conversation the other day, because if y'all don't know, I'm on social media a little bit. I like to look and see what's going on. I don't really like to post my whole life, but I like to see what's going on. Like we said, that's the generation we grew up in. We grew up with social media. And there has been a huge transgender versus what they like to call cis women.
I'm not cis shit. I'm gonna
okay,
say
hold
that.
on. Wait a minute, because we're gonna talk about this.
Okay,
I would love to hear your opinion on this.
And I got it. And I got it so good.
Because this is
I'm gonna say something. Because I commented on the video and they deleted my shit.
Which video?
The original video.
Okay.
Ate them motherfuckers up.
Did you, bitch? Okay. We ain't talked about this yet, y'all, so this is very much genuine. Tyler and I had a really big conversation about it because algorithms are a thing, so that shit was popping up on my shit and not on his. Right?
I seen it when it was at like 4,000 likes, so like I caught it early.
Yeah.
So because I wanted to be seen.
Yeah, got to. Because if you got something to say, you need somebody to listen.
I had something to say.
Okay, well, I don't have anything to fucking say on social media, but today, this is my podcast. This is our platform, so let's talk about it. I do feel a little bit confused, right? When it comes to the conversation about this, we're going to specify for people who don't know. There was, and I wish I did more research on this shit.
I know.
But there was a young lady.
Transgender woman.
There was a young lady versus transgender woman.
No, because I'm going to say how they spoke it.
Okay.
Because when they addressed,
because she is a transgender woman.
When she addressed it, yes. So when she addressed herself, she said as a trans woman.
Yes.
So that's what you preferred
to be
called,
labeled, referred to, identified as.
Yes.
Ooh, baby, this is a hot one.
And you have to be careful of those things. So that's why I said that.
This is a hot one
because they try.
Because I don't know if she would like to be called lady. So you're right. It gets difficult. But anyway, she was basically saying in an interview or something of the sort that, and it was just a small clip, that women are not the gatekeepers of periods.
We
right?
experience it.
We experience those things, but we don't own it. Them. So we're not the gatekeepers of it. So now I see all of that goes past a couple days. Just hilarious. Who is always very controversial because she is she's a vocal black woman.
Guess that's it.
She's a vocal black woman comedian. Now, when black men, white men, any type of man say what the fuck they got to say,
that's not an issue.
Okay, but that's another conversation for another day. But she voiced her opinion about, and it was done in a serious manner, but y'all have to think about, she's still a comedian. So she was being funny in some parts as well. You gotta go watch the video, y'all. I'm not gonna get copyrighted.
Hell no.
So we're not gonna put it in there.
Hell no.
But she did say that, she disagreed with the transgender woman who said that, because in a sense, if we're the only people who bleed out of our vaginas, then why can't we be the gatekeepers of what makes us a woman, right?
It's not even gatekeeping anything. Because, like, if I could drop
But that's what she said.
I know. I know. But if we could give it to other people, like, if you could get it with your sex change and take it from a woman who doesn't want it, I think that would be the more most awesome thing that you all could probably conjure up.
Yeah.
Because you can have mine. I give it to you.
Because God knows I don't want it. God knows I don't want a period. God knows I wish men could have our babies for.
And then, if you don't want a period, then you have to stick foreign objects or get foreign objects, get foreign hormones, get foreign all kinds of shit just to not have it. No one wants this.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wants this.
Yeah. We don't want it.
But we do, unfortunately, gatekeep it.
We have it.
Because we have to.
And like you said, I don't think it needs to be like a gatekeeping thing.
I think it should literally be science.
Yeah.
I think it should literally
biology is how I feel like it.
The science, and ultimately it comes back to chromosomes. And regardless of whether you want to change your gender, you still don't. You still aren't able to get that chromosome to then possess what a woman fully has to experience. So yes, unfortunately, we have to gatekeep it. And I'm saying unfortunately because it's literally unfucking fortunate.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want it. But we also don't want to tell someone what their experience of womanhood should be like. Because we don't really give a fuck. And can we get to that?
Yeah.
It started off as us being like one unit. And I feel like that's the problem. That's the problem. Women went so hard to want them to be included which is fine, because I feel like we all should feel included. But why is it that we're trying to get away from labels and we just keep coming up with more? And then when we don't want to be in those labels, then we're labeled as phobic something.
Yeah.
Like
or something phobic. Okay, to go towards your point, I totally fucking agree with you. I feel like, and I told Tyler this the other day, I think there needs to be a definitive line between identifying, because most transgender people will say there's a difference between your biology, your natural sex, what you were born as, and what you identify, right?
It's a feeling.
Right, what you identify as, right? And I can respect that, because one of the things I want to do with having this conversation is respect everyone. Because you said everybody should feel included.
And that's another thing.
I disagree with that. I don't feel like everybody should be included. I feel like everybody should be respected, and everybody needs to be in their respective areas. So you don't need to be included with what I got going on, because you're doing something different. That's how I feel. Don't feel like you need to be a real woman, a cis woman, what they would call it, a natural born woman, right? When you're a transgender woman, I feel like there needs to be a definitive line between identifying as a male, because you were a male, you were born a male, identifying as a woman because you are a woman, and then not born a woman and identifying as a woman. There needs to be different fucking blocks of that shit. Does that make sense?
Listen, that's what I was getting ready to touch on. How did it become disrespectful to talk about womanhood? How did it become disrespectful to live and embrace your womanhood? I breastfed a baby because my body did that.
Allows you
an experience that, first of all, some people really have a hard time. Some people really do not want to do those things, and they do them off the strength of being a woman,
or can't do them. And I think a lot of transgender people say, well, there's women who can't have babies. There's women who can't. Baby, that's a struggle in itself, and y'all are making a mockery out of it, in my opinion.
They're struggling living in womanhood, born into womanhood, not growing into womanhood, because you grew into womanhood, and that's how you evolved and decided, hey, I want to be a transgender, whatever. Beautiful for you. Just let's not negate the fact that these are things that women ultimately have struggles with. And let's not negate the fact that, like I was saying, you can take 100 transgender women, 100 transgender men, and 100 years from now, we're going to come back to a bunch of skeletons. But you take one biological woman and one biological man, and we're going to come back 100 years from now and have civilization. And that's the difference. It's just that simple. It's a science. And I feel like people get away from the science because they're too focused on their opinions. I don't really give a fuck what you do, because I'm not fucking you, feeding you, or financing you. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you. But let's not negate the fact that some women do struggle in womanhood to do the things that y'all want to strip us of. Because it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, because this is how I feel. When it comes to opinions and wanting to be identified as a certain thing, I'm going to always be respectful of that. But once, like you said, someone tries to strip you of your womanhood,
and they say we being sensitive. They say, who's stripping you? They say, like, because these are the comments that I see. It's often, well, what transgender woman specifically said something to you? It's not. It's a movement. Y'all do understand that, it's right? It's not we don't feel personally attacked, each individual
by a person, right?
But it is an attack on women as a whole. I don't want to be cis anything, but your sis. Like, we could be cis, we could be homies, and that's cool. Like, that's cool. And I was about to bring up something, but I hate when people do that, so I'm not even gonna do that. Because when people be like, and I got a gay best, I wouldn't.
Yeah, don't even do that. No. But and I think that's a good
because
point.
I had to speak to her.
I think that's a good point. We are the type of people who are accepting. I hate when people say that you're transphobic or you're homophobic because you don't agree with being, like you said, stripped of your womanhood. We have plenty of people in our lives who could definitely have different opinions about sexuality, right? But that does not mean that we allow people in our lives that would negate what it is to be a woman.
And know that when I say these things, of course, I'm not speaking from an ill place, but I do have conversations with the community first. Like, I try first to understand. But every time I try to get you guys to understand me, I be getting fucked. Like, when I say motherfucker came
Who's you guys?
You mean the LGBTQ plus community.
So not the community in your life, but community outside of your life?
Yes.
Okay.
Because y'all went hard the other day on the TikTok. They came all the way over to my page, told me to take care of my baby. I said, she's well taken care of. Damn.
But you know what? This is another part of the conversation that me and Tyler had. I have learned to not be the person that comments. And I'm going to let you know why.
I don't comment often. I don't think I hardly ever comment.
I used to comment, especially on black issues. And I want to say this, Yazzie. I want to say this. I used to comment on black issues. I used to comment on black LGBTQ issues. I used to comment on things that I was passionate about, right? I've chosen not to, because what I've realized, not just with this situation, but a lot, but I'll talk about this situation. What I've realized is the same black people that are in the LGBTQ plus community who wanted to be accepted by black people are the same people who are dogging out our black cis Jess. So if y'all
like a man,
if y'all want to be a unit and y'all want to be together,
if there's a gap,
how are y'all dividing us again? That doesn't make sense. And now I feel like that's why I call it a movement. I call it a movement because I've always had the question, why the fuck has the gay community gotten more rights than us as black people? Tyler said the other day, if I went on LinkedIn and I went on my Facebook and every other platform and I decided to tell everybody in my life that I'm a trans woman, I would get more rights as a trans woman than a black man. That gives me chills, y'all, because y'all know what the fuck that means. Like, that literally got, I'm a fucking Bible. That gives me chills because that means that the whole, and this is not going to be cliche. That means that the whole movement of the black community and the LGBTQ community coming together because we're trying to fight for our black sisters and brothers that's gay and trans or whatever goes out the fucking window.
Fortunately, this is for lack of better words, but this is for lack of better words. So know that this is for lack of better words.
Because we all have room to grow.
It's almost as if, go back to the saying, often imitated, never duplicated. Because I hate, and I'm not saying this specifically to speak to just transgender women or just the LGBTQ plus community. But I hate how we've become a personality trait in general. Being a black woman has become like a cloak of armor. Like, to be able to say, hey, I'm a black woman is like the shit. But to be able to say, I'm a fucking trans black woman is wild. You get so much power. And in the same breath that I say that they get so many rights, they get stripped of so many experiences because of people's phobia.
Yeah.
And
that's unfortunate.
I know that there are challenges in the community.
Absolutely.
I do understand that. And I want to say that I truly understand that, because I have an actual gay black woman best friend.
And so you understand what she goes through.
When she is bothered by things, I am trying to understand from a different place. I'm literally, like, when I ask her things, I'm asking things to get a logical answer, because maybe sometimes us as heterosexual people, we so heterosexual that we don't even see it, or we're so programmed. Hear me. I'm not saying us.
Oh no, I'm listening.
We become so programmed to the way that we see things in society that we unfortunately create biases. I don't think that I do that.
That's a great point, yes.
But I think that is where it gets misconstrued, because if I am to say something, you're thinking about that person. You're thinking about those people. And it's not that. It's never that. It's really like, honestly, y'all could have stopped at all the shit that y'all got. Y'all could have stopped at, like, y'all could have stopped at the pronouns being this, y'all could have stopped at that. And we like, it's good. I know there's so many more things that mean more to you guys, to that community, than to argue with real women about womanhood.
It's hard to have this conversation because, like I said, I want to be respectful. If somebody says my pronouns are she, her, you are she her exactly. To me. You are fucking lady, whatever you would like for me to do, I'm going to respect that. Where the line gets crossed for me is when somebody says, because after me and Tyler had this conversation, we went on YouTube and we started doing a little bit more research so we can be more understanding, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to have conversations and not kind of tap into the other person's mind. We went in and we did some understanding, and this is where it got weird for us. When somebody asks you, and I will ask if there's trans people that are in our audience, I will ask you this question, and please comment or let us know. How did you know that you were a woman? Like, what made you say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman? What is it? Okay, and then on top of that, is that you identifying as a trans woman or a woman? Is there a difference between trans women and actual women?
Yes.
And this is my thing. From what I've researched and what I've seen on social media, because I don't have any trans people in my life, but what I've tried to deep dive in, people don't see a difference. And they say, no, a woman is a woman and I'm a woman. Right? Mm-hmm. And to me, I'll go back to this. I think there needs to be a hard line there. Like, I'm a woman and you're a trans woman. And I will respect you for being a trans woman.
Wanting us to say cis, because they have something in front of theirs, so we should have something in front of
ours. But then that just identifies us as something different, right?
Yeah.
So what the fuck? That's contradictory.
Because we're not. And that's what I'm saying. There hasn't been a gap bridged. And I don't think there will be, because even if you do the sex change, the ultimate thing that would make you, I guess, have the complete woman experience. I'm not going to say make you a woman, okay? I'm using my words better. Make you have the complete woman experience would be to get a way to make your vagina bleed to, and to then be able to carry a child.
Is it? That's what people think? I'm not saying that. I was about to say, God damn, we all fucked up in the world.
What I'm saying is, that's the difference. Because, yeah, you can get your sex change, but you're just enjoying sex, unfortunately. This is the harsh truth. So, you're just enjoying sex as a man with woman parts. With another man. And that's cool. Do you, boo. Have fucking fun.
Yeah.
But that's the difference.
Okay. I get you. Okay, I'm following that.
Like, we have to have these things.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't have to have them. One thing.
Actually, we do have to be born with them.
We have to be born with them, yes. But we don't have to have them.
We don't have to have them. Yeah.
Trey said the other day. He said the only thing we really have as people is the power of choice, and you can really just choose to not want to share space with actual women by sharing space with actual women and continuing to grow with us. It's literally just that simple. It's just that simple.
I love a good Trey quote.
I think that there isn't a way to grow forward without it being a battle, because we started out as their strongest allies. So I feel like that's the first issue. They said who pushed for this the most, and some would say straight women.
And it's true. And that's why I'm confused about the division that's now happening.
The division only is now happening because someone said that we didn't gatekeep something that we unfortunately do have to.
I get it, right? I get that. But there was one person who said that.
And a million.
There was another person who disagreed. And now the fucking two communities are going like head to head. And that's just what I don't understand. And I think people like us who try to do it in a respectful way are getting so much backlash for just owning being a woman. It's hard to be a motherfucking woman.
It is.
Y'all know that shit. And that's why it's just like how we have black power and it's hard to be black, and we really, really cherish that, and nobody can take that away from us. I want people who are not natural born women to understand that natural born women are going to cherish that shit, hold it very close to us.
A different type of way.
Same way.
It's a different feeling. And I think ultimately that's what everyone is chasing, a feeling.
What you talk about all the time.
I mean, because if we stopped operating out of our egos as just human beings in general, I think that things would go a lot smoother.
And not even egos. Let's put emotions to the side for one moment. I think this is one of those topics. If you put your emotions to the side, and let's look at the facts. Let's just look at the facts.
Yeah, well, I'm a science-based person. That's why I kept trying to go back. Like, it has to make sense to me logically for it to register enough for me to then want to practice and then teach it. Okay, I think I said that great.
You did.
So I'm trying to learn from you all. But
it gotta make sense.
But it has to make sense. But in hopes of being able to raise my child to be understanding, to be able to navigate the world and not feel. I feel like maybe I might have felt initially when all of this started happening, like it was an attack on your character.
Absolutely. We want to be able to teach our children that, because this is new for us.
Yeah, and it's not an attack on our character. I have a transgender woman in my family. It's just bothering the hell out of me. Like, what the hell? Just fix it, Lord. Because why is it like that? Why would it do that?
Yeah, there you go. That's a little better.
That's yeah. I just wanted that one thing. Anyway, I have a transgender woman in my family. He is now fully changed. Love him to pieces. Did I say transgender woman? That would be a transgender man.
I was about to say, because if you saying transgender woman, you misgendering her.
Excuse me. Him.
Transgender man,
yes, and being around them for days at a time, it does take some training.
Yeah,
it does take some time. And it's not because also they said, like, we don't feel attacked. I know that everyone, is still learning. Everyone's still adjusting. And I wish that we got that same grace in all areas as humans. But in that, I say that to say that we also, as just women, should be given that same grace too, to be able to feel. Y'all whole life is based on feelings, unfortunately.
Yeah, because if we're talking about real facts, right?
It's based.
So we're respecting your feelings,
and I would like, and I'm not going to say that the whole community doesn't, but we would like that same respect back when we say, okay, we just want to be this, like, cool, do what you guys want to do, but we just want to do this. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't always have to cross the disrespect line. And it isn't
or the
always,
line at all, right?
Right.
Why is it a comparative thing? And I think it's a comparative thing because, like I said, there's no distinct line between me being a natural born woman and somebody who identifies as a woman. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, I feel like once we put a distinctive line between that, then we'll know there's no comparing.
I think people are just too afraid to say that
they're different than us.
Yeah. Because no one wants to be different. That's the problem. A lot of times it's when you hear stories, people say, I just knew I was different from everyone else. I just knew I was, and it's not that you're different from everyone else. It's just proximity. And then that.
So we're respecting people's feelings. Yeah. If you want to be identified as a woman, that's okay. But the world is changing. And I think we're going to have to change with it. I don't want to sound like our old-ass grandmas who don't like gay people. I don't want to sound like that.
But is it because that's what I like. They throw out the word dislike. And I don't think for everyone it's dislike. I really think it's just like we minded our business for so long, and then you guys were screaming, help, 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 help. We reached our hands down. We helped y'all. We minded y'all business for a little bit. We went back to our collective areas, and
now y'all shooting at us. I get it. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to seem like our grandmothers who don't like gay people, because that's not what it is. That's what dislike is not nowhere in the conversation, right? For most natural born women, right? But I think this conversation was good. I think that I would like to hear from the rest of our community, our More Than a Mother community. I think that everybody can feel differently about it. Mm-hmm. But one thing I wish we could learn how to do is have the conversation where our opinions are different.
In a constructive way.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe sometimes base facts in that. Yeah. Because it's always based on emotion and feelings. I think
it should all be based facts. And that's where, that's why y'all try to eat me up on the TikTok.
Why you didn't screenshot that shit?
Because like as soon as the comments started getting to me likes, I knew the ban was coming. I knew the block was coming. I knew that they was about to start. And listen, I never intend on saying anything but the way I say it. So I literally
said it how you wanted to
literally say it. Said it how I want to say it. Science, because I said science would say that if 100 of you guys, 100 trans women, 100 trans men, created a community, y'all go over there, we're going to come back to nothing.
Yeah, I think they know that. I think they know that there's never going to be a such thing as no woman or no man. They don't give a fuck about that. They just want to be included.
Is to erase the base of what creates humanity.
You think that's what they're in? I don't think that. I'm not getting that from them. I'm feeling what I'm getting from them is that I don't want to erase you. I just want to be a part of you.
No.
And that's what I mean by I don't agree with you saying everybody should be included. You shouldn't. You shouldn't be included in what I got going on. You should just be respected for what you got going on. I respect you.
I think that it started off, it didn't start off as like I just said.
Depleting us, yeah.
But I think that ultimately there's been such attack on male masculinity these past few years to the point where, men are perceived more masculine and more sure of themselves if they are doing things that people would say is for the opposite gender.
Yeah.
And it's just like for me personally, I think that if things worked for several years, if people kept testing the theory and it kept coming back the same, then we should just but
you have a good point though.
But I do think that's not how it started, but I do think that may be the end goal, and that's why I say you put 100 of you guys, 100 trans women, 100 trans men, and y'all create a community. Beautiful. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'd be a fucking ball. I love to party with you. But we'll come back to skeletons. Yeah. And if you just take one woman, you take one man, you'll come back to civilization. And that's just it.
I can get how the comments get ugly.
Yeah.
That's why I stay after them motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I typically do too. I typically do stay out of comment sections. But like, that's the thing. We have become so silenced by all the things that we can't say, can't do, can't this. And this goes back to, although there were a lot of harsh words used and thrown around back in the day that we have grown to eliminate from our vocabulary. And not to negate things that gay people went through back in the day.
Yes.
Because it was a lot harsher than what you guys have to go through. Y'all are fighting for like
I get it. It's hard. I get it. It's hard. No, I'm serious. No, Yazzie, you think I'm fucking playing with you? No, I don't ever want them to think.
It's hard.
I don't ever want people to think that we don't understand. Right? We're not ever trying to compare struggles. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. But I forgot what I was about to say. Sorry. It's hard. So there is hardships in both being, I'm sure, a trans woman and being just a woman.
A woman.
And maybe there doesn't need to be any bridge gap because ultimately we are two different women. We are two different types of women. And there's so many different types of women in general, but it's almost like this, like the subtitle. What's the shit that they are? Where you got the little what's the titles at the top, the big bold letters. They underneath this. Subject woman.
Oh, yeah. That's called title and subtitle, ain't it?
Okay.
I was confused.
Look,
am I right?
Subtitle. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh no, it's like a header.
A header.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's just look at us like that. Like,
okay, and on that note, we really appreciate y'all for tuning in to episode 8. We honestly did not think that this conversation would go here. We had no intentions of talking about sexuality today
at all.
We did have all the intentions of talking about the old school shit, which is how we grew up, versus what's going on now, and I think that's very relevant.
You gonna cut it all out?
I don't know if I am.
Oh Lord,
I edit most of the time. And I think that it's a good conversation. I don't want y'all to hate us.
They're gonna hate me. And this has been
More Than a Mother podcast,
episode 8,
and we are signing out.